Correa!
Hey, Jake's back and he's got his own show.
Try that.
He's on the mic and he's ready to go. Noodle on his left, Jess on his right. Hey, hold up, don't start a fight. He's got you covered with all the sports. Don't fret, he's wearing shorts. It's time for Waking Jake in the morning, Waking Jake at night. Jake sucks.
Good morning, sports fans. Happy December 21st, a day that'll get remembered for Mets fans for a long time, for baseball fans for the next couple of days, and if you heard me yell at the start, Correa, Carlos Correa is going to the Mets. We had that whole smoke screen with Correa to the Mets, or what we thought was a smoke screen. Then he signed with the Giants. Then it was quiet on the Western Front. Then we saw a couple tweets yesterday. Correa, probably not. They weren't doing the press conference. They were delaying it. There were some physicals. When was the first tweet out? Like 3 a.m., 4 a.m.?
I think it was still it started with a 2.
Okay.
So 2:30-ish, I think, going back. I was asleep.
So if you had a real night shift, you had a chance to catch it. I did not. I've been messing around with my phone in silent mode. So I started my morning, and then I saw it, and I was like, oh, crap, I got to go. Also, unrelated to Correa, my buddy Jack left his laptop at a bar. It ended up a couple blocks away from my apartment. So he was in the Upper East Side. He didn't know if someone stole it. He didn't know what happened. It turned out it was a friend of a friend that he had from dinner. So this morning, me and my buddy Jack were at Starbucks, basically looking like a boring version of the movie The Town, wondering if we were going to have to raid an apartment. Meanwhile, the Correa news drops, and he's going to be a Met. And if you're a Mets fan, I mean, do you believe in fantasy? I mean, Steve Cohen buys the team, richest guy in baseball, right? We do all the talk about it. You know, as we've gotten closer to baseball, you realize how much the owners really run the streets. I mean, there's 30 of them. The commissioner works for them. You know, you see teams like San Diego now and the Phillies. You know, an owner can empty the wallet at any time, and you can kind of run your team how you want. Not a ton of owners do that. They used to be the Yankees. That's why the Yankees are hated. George Steinbrenner did that. Go look at some old payroll numbers. It was crazy. Now they put in a bunch of rules, which part of me loved because I like the part of sports that everybody has a chance. When the Reds play the Yankees on a given day, hey, Hunter Green, you go shove. Malibu Mike Moustakas hits a yabo, and you can win that game. That's what I like about sports. That being said, Uncle Steve is breaking the rules, man. They bring in Correa. I mean, Yankees fans are jealous. They've been jealous before that. The Mets are stacked. Nimmo, right? Was he going to go? He was going to get a big bag? He's back. Carlos Correa, the only shortstop he's willing to play third base for, Frankie Lindor, on the Mets. They gave him $300 million, the highest paid shortstop. Now next to him will be Carlos Correa. Pete Alonso, been on that team. Go check out the Baseball Reference. He's not just a silly polar bear. Like, he rakes, man. Jeff McNeil also rakes. Different kind of rakes, lefty and slappy. Starling Marte, remember they lost him? He kind of came back for the playoffs, but he was a big part of that team. He's now in their 6 hole. They have Mark Canha at 8. They signed Omar Narvaez, and no one really cared. But he's a catcher. He got $8 million a year or whatever it is, 7.5. Vogie is still there. Right now, Eddie Escobar doesn't have a starting spot. Eduardo Escobar might have been their best player in September last year. Versatile, he'll get used, and it's kind of ideal for Eddie Escobar. Switch hitter that can move all around. He'll still get at bats. Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, Kodai Senga. Remember all that? That whole thing? Kid from Japan throws 102, might be electric. He's penciled in. Cookies Carrasco, Jose Quintana. How good was he last year? And again, another Baseball Reference to look at for a 5-starter. You're going to like it. Edwin Diaz was a free agent. He was like the first free agent signed. A closer got $100 million. That doesn't happen.
Signed before he was even allowed to talk to other teams yet.
Ottavino and David Robertson. How are your 37-year-olds? We don't picture Ottavino as old as D-Rob.
He's always sneaky old.
Sneaky old. JM old.
Really happy for Ottavino. Knew he wanted to go back to the Mets, and he gets multi-years. Those were the two things he was looking for.
And right now, I mean, Francisco Alvarez, we've talked about that a little bit. The super prospect got called up for the Braves series. How does he factor in? Is it DH, catcher, a little bit of both? Buck Showalter, my God. If you like baseball stories, you like Dusty Baker last year, getting his ring, it's time to party. Buck Showalter, if you're a storyline person, still doesn't have that ring. Every team after he's managed them has gotten the ring. I don't know. I mean, a Mets offseason that had a chance to be scary, horrific. You know, Chris Bassett was a free agent. I mentioned Nimmo, Diaz, Taijuan Walker, DeGrom. You know, they're losing DeGrom, Walker, and Bassett. That's was supposed to be their 1, 3, and 4 last year. Something like that. They replaced it with Verlander, Senga, Quintana. They're fine there. I mean, they're losing Seth Lugo, so if you really want to be sad, Mets fans, you can be. And I mean, the question is, are they done? And what's done? Like, I don't know. I currently see Dan Vogel back in their starting lineup. Like, if you're a Mets fan, you're living in a non-real world. Like, anything's on the table, right? Like, could they bring Conforto back? I have no idea. Do they need to? Probably not.
And there's the rumor going around, Mets interested in bringing in Liam Hendricks. White Sox want to cut some payroll, and how could you not believe that?
Uncle Steve Cohen is breaking the rules. They put in a tax, the Cohen tax, because they were scared because of how wealthy he was as an owner, that he was going to blow the top off of this. The MLB owners had been pretty tight and united for a while. Nobody had really, that luxury tax threshold wasn't 1 year. It was just the Dodgers, like that final threshold. Are they the only team that broke that third?
Yeah, they were like the only team that went over that. Every other team,
like the Yankees, never did.
The Yankees have not. I think this year it's hard to imagine them getting a left fielder without going over that, unless they get Hicks and Donaldson off. But yeah, every team's treated that like a hard cap.
On Talking Yanks, we've discussed, kind of Hal Steinbrenner. It felt like I don't want to say he took a leap this year as an owner. That's just ridiculous. But they re-signed Judge. They were going to be hell-bent to re-sign Judge. We didn't know. We did not know. He went to the podium. He said, we won't be outbid. They did, but they still re-signed him. Go Yanks. And, they made the other moves around that. They got Rodon. The New York Yankees and the New York Mets, I don't know. Whenever there's a new CBA, you wonder how teams are going to dance around it. Maybe Hal has kind of cracked, and he's like, I'm done hearing it from people on the streets when I go around town. Like, we need to be the Yankees again. I don't know. They're not there yet. They haven't won anything. They made a couple moves, and they're getting still shown up by the Mets. Maybe the Mets will push them. Maybe the Mets are going to break all of baseball. Because if Uncle Steve keeps doing this, if you want to be competitive, man, I mean, if you're going to spend that kind of money, I don't know if I'm thinking about the Guardians or what other teams come into play. If I'm the Marlins, I mean, the Braves are set up. The Phillies just paid $300 million for Trey Turner after getting Harper and Schwarber and Castellanos. I mean, I wonder where it ends up landing for baseball. I think it's a good thing. I think, Miami Marlins. Think about Miami. Miami's a very real city. That's not a team that's it's not like
to be small.
It's not a city of yesteryear. It's not a Buffalo or Green Bay or Syracuse or something like that. Sorry to all those cities. I was just thinking of old ABA basketball teams. I'm not sure what that was. The San Diego Padres are rolling out the wallet. That could be the Marlins. You just need the right team owner, and I wonder how that's going to change team owners. I mean, they only come in and out every so often. Is the league going to adjust to this? Are the Yankees going to attack back more than the Mets? And I mean, Cohen throwing bags at everyone. I'm interested to see the ripple effects. I think it should be good for the game. More players getting paid is good. Teams going after players is good. That's supposed to be the goal. Baseball is very cyclical. We've talked about the cycle a lot, and it finally got to the point that baseball wasn't adjusting, that you kind of had to come back. It feels like baseball had a moment where that Rays methodology of if you could get 1.5 WAR from each player, you can have a pretty good team. Like we saw that
be in the playoffs, and then that's a crapshoot. So
you'll get there. Have a ton of pitchers. Have enough position players to get it done, and you'll win 90 games, and you'll be in the playoffs with some varium, not a word.
Variability.
Varium, he says.
That's an element.
Rays, Brewers, and then we saw the Dodgers kind of do it, and the Dodgers, they also had the bags of money, so we got to see them do it at a very high level, winning crazy amounts of games year in, year out. One ring from it in the shortened season. People talk about that. I don't know. Now we've seen the Phillies, the Texas Rangers, the New York Mets, always the Yankees, the Padres. People are going out and getting stars. And, hey, Peter Moylan, for what it's worth, silly guy. But, I saw him reply to Heyman's Correa tweet, and he was like, please tell me this is another wrong tweet from John Heyman, because the Mets are real. And think about this. You're the Braves fan. You won in 2021. You're set up. You've got all these young players, all these young extensions. The Braves are still very good. Don't feel bad for Braves fans. The Mets are stacked. The Phillies are really good. And they just lost Dansby and Freddie. Like, I realize that they have depth and they've replaced guys with guys, and Matt Olson is one of my favorite players. So again, don't feel bad, but
I think it is guys that do preserve the identity for the most part. But
if you're a fan of the team, you lost like your starting shortstop, who if you look at any baseball team, you kind of check out who the shortstop is, and he was a sharp-looking cat that also just got himself $177 million. Freddie Freeman's going to be a Hall of Famer, and everyone assumed a Braves Hall of Famer. And now he's gone. Weird emotions for Mets fans right now. You're still happy and you love your team. The Mets are a wagon. They're kind of must watch. I mean, Correa next to Lindor and McNeil and Alonso. How quickly did we go from rat-raccoon fight in the dugout to this kind of like all-star team? Now there's going to be a ton of pressure. The age with the pitching staff, and, Verlander, you shouldn't question anything, but he is older. At some point, he'll need rest, maybe. Scherzer's had some back stuff. Senga, let's see how he adjusts. Carrasco's had some different injury history.
I guess for kind of all of them, between just age, even Senga in Japan, they do 6-day rotations or whatever.
And they've got
they'll probably mix in quite a bit of 6 starters.
Tyler McGill, they've got.
I don't think they need the bench spot so much some weeks.
They've got depth. They've got options. If you're a Mets fan, and again, let this be a reminder. We say it on Talking Baseball. I'll say it here. I'll say it anywhere. Your GM, guess what? Your GM wanted Correa, Dansby, Turner, Bogarts. It's the owner. The owner's got to give you the thumb up on it. Thumb up. Thumbs up, I think most would say. Thumb up the bum. Happy for Mets fans. Go check out Shea Station, I guess.
Gonna be an episode.
If Jolly ever wakes up. That was fun this morning.
That was good.
And yeah.
The other part we haven't got, he's moving to third base now. Just actual baseball. That's interesting.
It's interesting. I think he's going to be awesome there. There's a trick. I don't want to say a trick to third base because people think this is really dumb, but BBD's heard me say this a ton now. It's arm strength at third base. Go check out the Arenado, Machado special plays, Matt Chapman. It's in that moment of chaos where there's only one thing that can bail you out. Whether it's because there's a lot of hot shots to third. I mean, that's the old phrase, right? You're kind of playing soccer goalie for a minute. So if you knock it down or if you make a play to your right and you see all those foul ground plays that you see Machado and Arenado make, the trick is their arm strength. We've seen Gio Urshela come through, and all of you know a good third baseman you like, and they can make some of those plays. If Gio makes a play on the third baseline, he gets it in his glove, he gets rid of it as quick as possible. If the throw's online, it's there. You see Machado do these whippy throws. You see Arenado from any angle. Carlos Correa, part of what's made him special at shortstop, where he won the Platinum Glove, all-world arm strength. He's doing the cutoff throws from all over the field. The Houston ran set plays for him basically on defense. He's going to be fantastic over there. It's almost a bummer he's not going to play more shortstop because he's 28 years old. But Lindor's very special over there.
Only 1 year older.
Both Puerto Rico, right? That's part of the deal.
So.
They played on the WBC together, and that's the only guy Correa said he'd do this for. I think he's going to be amazing over there. The only question is the physicals. Last episode, go check it out. Numbers were a little low. We mixed some things up, but was kind of ranking the shortstop contracts. I still had Correa depending the back as my number one. Well, the contract just went down. Now he's playing third. The back is scary. We've heard about it for a couple years, and let's find out because I have no idea. I genuinely have no clue. I hate to be this guy, but I'm sure the doctors know some stuff, but you also just don't know.
Might be, and maybe the hang up was does he got 10 more years at short or 6?
3? 2? I mean, are we going to be?
I imagine being confined to a smaller range at third is gonna help.
What if it's actually that bad and doctors are saying in 5 years, this dude back ain't gonna work? I have no clue. And
it's allegedly the issue with the Giants' medicals, which I don't know if we're ever gonna know, but it wasn't the back. It's what reports.
I don't know
say.
about all that.
That's the most known thing, so who knows?
Right.
But just people are saying it. I don't know.
I think the other thing that needs to be mentioned, because Mets fans, you got to be happy. Giants fans, tough. You kind of let the bad guy in, and then he kind of burnt you, and now. I mean, he didn't burn you. His physical is you're not going to actually hold overhead, but you are. When you see Carlos Correa, especially opening day when the Mets play the Giants in San Francisco, get ready for that. And the Giants, I said this on Talking Baseball. I liked Correa for them better than Judge, not just Yankees blinders, but I think he could do more for the team on offense and defense because they need a lot. They need a lot. Mitch Haniger can be a nice signing, and Jock, when he plays, he's really good. The rest of that team, and that's got to be, if you're a Giants fan, I don't know. You've got some pieces. We talked about the rotation. Webb, Cobb, Manaea, Stripling, Wood. Feels like a Giants rotation. Brandon Crawford goes back to shortstop. We talked about that a little bit.
Defense still graded out well.
I don't know, man. If you're a Giants fan, you were in on Judge, you were out on Judge, you got outbid by your division rival. Correa was coming in, and you kind of do the gulp. All right, let's do it. Now he's out. There's no other big free agents, so it might be a long year in the Bay, man. I don't know. We'll see if they've got anything up their sleeve. Maybe. And how many teams think they're in the Ohtani battle for next year? We'll do that another time. But Correa to the Mets. Happy for you Mets fans.
Yeah, Cohen's paying almost half a bill this year. Might give just that to Ohtani next year. What does he care?
Why not? We'll see you on Talking Baseball in a little bit.